Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is the fourth episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. Today we have our Raw review. We have the topics we will be discussing today are the Raw review, Cesaro's match from last night, Brock Lesnar versus the Car, Kevin Owens, is he ready to be the United States champion? Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt's current standing, Stone Cold Steve Austin and WWE 2K16, the state of Battleground right now, and a couple questions that I've gotten from numerous people. But right now, I'm going to do something where I take a little bit of time to do like to set up a couple more things, and I just pretty much do that on camera as I wait for both people to join into the conversation, join into the stream, and so on and so forth. So for you, you may want to do a little something while you're waiting. If you want to wait till I get to the podcast part, I will give you a warning of when I am nearing a conclusion to the joining process. So with that, I will let everybody get involved. Yes, the creaking is my chair. You may hear that very often. I'm almost done with these edits to the website and to the YouTube channel, so it'll only be maybe a minute or two more till I get into the podcast. All right. So, wrong way. Okay. All right. So, should probably click on that. And in turn, in turn, well, I probably would have finished the raw review by now. Trying to aim for this podcast to be a bit longer, than an hour. It's in my opinion, it's supposed to be a podcast, so I wanted to have a podcast feel. I do want to try something very quickly. Not very quick. Very quickly. I want to try to see if I can get the stream to be put on my TV. Mute on, so that way I don't have to hear myself. Excuse me. And I guess I'll go to my own homepage. No, fuck. Where's my channel? I can't get to my channel here. UNIT. Fuck. ARDZ. Oh, wow. That's nice. Somebody else subscribed. Thank you. All right. Hold on. Live now. Okay, sweet. Does this actually work? I have two of me. It's very blurry, but I have two of me. All right. All right. So let's get into it. First off, we're going to start out with the raw review. And here we go. So last night, I put out a tweet that I was going to do my raw review in the podcast this week. And I was going to do that in order to try out something new. And my attempt was to try out making a raw review instead of a raw recap in order to get this podcast to be a little bit longer and make it feel like an actual podcast, So anyway, I have that intact. So we're going to be talking about the raw review to start out the podcast. So Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out first, and Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. We don't start with an authority promo. We don't start with any of that. We start out with a fucking Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar promo. Now, before we get into this, I didn't watch all that much of Raw. I can't really rate it from what I saw because I didn't see enough of it. However, reading through this, I'll find out what makes sense and pick apart whatever. So anyway, we talk about, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, they come out. Heyman talks about how people fear his client, and and they are here, and that Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar are here for retribution. They are here for Seth Rollins, and they are going to do the same to Seth Rollins that Brock Lesnar is going to do the same to Rollins that Brock Lesnar did to The Undertaker and John Cena. He Heyman talks about how Brock took everybody to Suplex City. He takes anybody, whether it's before, whether it's currently, or whether it's in future matches, he's going to take them all to Suplex City. He shows how Brock Lesnar harbors disrespect for Seth Rollins. He says his job for being there tonight was to tell everybody about Brock's title match with Seth Rollins at Battleground. He will take back his title. The suplexes begin tonight. He says someone should tell Rollins that the Beast is waiting to dish out his punishment, and they aren't going anywhere tonight. So Brock Lesnar is going to stay in the arena. He's going to stay, and he's going to make sure that Seth Rollins feels pain, and he's going to make sure that Seth Rollins is just I don't know how to explain it. He pretty much just says he is not going to go anywhere until he makes sure Seth Rollins is afraid of Brock Lesnar, and he makes sure that he is going to kick Seth Rollins. He's going to make sure that he gets all the revenge he needs to get from on Seth Rollins due to what Seth Rollins did at WrestleMania, due to the fact that he's been disrespecting him ever since WrestleMania. That's great. It was great. It was a good promo. I missed the beginning of it because I was doing something. I think I was twittering or something like that. Twitchering. Anyway, afterwards we get into the Big Show versus Ryback. Big Show won by disqualification. I didn't really care for the match. The Miz made it more entertaining, going on the ring ropes on the corner, on the apron, in the ring or something, or whatever, with the microphone. One more time. He just made the match more entertaining. The match wasn't like the best match you can ever get. It's not pay-per-view worthy. But Miz made it more entertaining. And of course, the Big Show won by disqualification. After the Miz attacked the Big Show. Next up, we have the next page. Wow, this internet. Afterwards, we get Paige versus Brie Bella. Paige faces Brie Bella. Of course, Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox are trying to interfere. She gets a few strikes in, knocks them down. Brie kicks her off after avoiding the PTO, goes for a drop kick. Paige sidesteps her. I think later on, Paige kicked, I believe, Alicia Fox off, and then did some. I think Paige went for Nikki Bella, and then Brie Bella hit a Bella Buster and beat Paige. So Paige lost to Brie Bella again. This whole angle, Paige goes from trying to get the help of the Divas to not caring anymore and doing it on her own, while Alicia Fox sides with the Bellas. So now you just have this random teaming of the Bella Twins and Alicia Fox against Paige and nobody else. And it seems like, Naomi and Tamina are going to end up Paige and Naomi and Tamina are going to end up teaming against the Bella Twins and Alicia Fox. But if you are going to do that, you should have done that already. If you are going to have something involving the rest of the Divas on the roster, then you should have done that already. You shouldn't be harboring this out. And by the time that Raw is the only real show you can add any sort of storyline to advancement in, other than SmackDown. But then SmackDown is not seen by too many, because nobody really cares about SmackDown compared to Raw. SmackDown is a wrestling show, whereas Raw is more of an entertainment show. But SmackDown is not seen by as many people as Raw is. And in turn, you can't do too much to the storyline to all that often because nobody's really going to see it and they're going to be confused when they go back to Raw. And now Raw next week will be the go home show to Battleground, and right now Battleground is not looking like the pay-per-view I want to see. I'll get into the state of Battleground, later on in this podcast. However, I just think that if you were going to do something with Paige and the Bella Twins, you should have done it already. I understand that you already did Alicia Fox and had himself with the Bella Twins, but you shouldn't have just stopped there. You should have done some other shit, some more interesting shit. And yeah. Anyway, Brie Bella won. We get Sheamus versus Roman Reigns again afterwards. It was a fine match. This time, Bray Wyatt tries to get in the mind of or Bray Wyatt tries to get in the mind of Roman Reigns. He sends a fake Bray Wyatt out down the ramp. He does the whole Bray Wyatt entrance. Roman Reigns runs up and hits the Superman punch on the fake Bray Wyatt. And then real Bray Wyatt comes on the Titantron and says, "Anybody but you, Roman." And anyway, afterwards, the winner by countout, not Roman Reigns as it says here on WrestleZone.com, but the winner by countout was the Money in the Bank winner, Sheamus. And at least this week we got a finish. Last week it was just like the match ended and we went into something else or a commercial or something. And now at least we got Sheamus to win by count out. I think they realized that they messed up on that last week and that wasn't a conclusive ending, so they had to kind of make up for that this week. Although if you want to make up for that from what happened last week, you don't need to have the same exact match as you did last week. Yeah, the match from last week may have been good looking back at Raw or watching Raw over again. Yeah, the match last week may have been good, but that doesn't mean you can have it again and have the same match we get. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible for the same match to happen 2 weeks in a row and for both matches to be good. I'm not saying it's impossible for that to happen, but I am saying it's very rare you see two matches happening in both weeks, the same match happening both weeks, or in both Raws and have it be good. Even though that's hard for Roman Reigns versus Sheamus, and yeah, Roman Reigns versus Sheamus last week was good. I'm losing track. Last week, Roman Reigns versus Sheamus was good. This week, it was just like deja vu. I wasn't interested in it. I mean, of course, you can say different from John Cena versus Cesaro from last week and this week, but I mean, the only thing different from this match is that it wasn't as good, and there was actually a conclusive ending, and that was by Sheamus winning via countout. So not much else happened with this feud. I must admit, though, yeah, I had to give credit where credit is due, and that is Bray Wyatt playing these mind games. I like seeing when something in a storyline isn't used every week. Like Bray Wyatt isn't having an imaginary or isn't having a tea party with an imaginary person trying to get in the mind of Roman Reigns. I wouldn't like if that happened 2 or 3 weeks in a row. 1 week can be the tea party thing. Another week can be Bray Wyatt's stunt double. Another week you can have Bray Wyatt talking to a kid backstage and having it make it seem like like it's Roman Reigns' daughter when really nobody is there. And then another week you can have Bray Wyatt, I don't know, he can have some kind of family video of Roman Reigns and his daughter, or the next week you can have Roman Reigns and his daughter's commercial on the Titantron blaring at Roman Reigns, and then whoever Roman Reigns is in a matchup against at that point, that person will beat Roman Reigns, and then it'll be Bray Wyatt costing Roman Reigns these matches, and then therefore Roman Reigns won't only be aggravated because Bray Wyatt is involving his daughter, but Roman Reigns will also be aggravated because Bray Wyatt is costing him these matches. He's costing him wins when he needs to get these wins. And I think that's the better storyline development, not having him get under his skin by just adding his daughter every single week. I mean, you can have Bray Wyatt send a stun double out and have it seem like Roman Reigns is about to get his vengeance and have him Superman punch the fucking shit out of stunt double Bray Wyatt. and then reveal that it was just stunt double Bray Wyatt. I mean, you can do that, but I mean, two things. You can't involve his daughter every single week. You got to change it up a little bit. And if you're going to involve his daughter every single week, then at least have the promos be different from each other. Not just have, oh, the commercial runs on twice in a row or 2 weeks in a row. And at this point, you also have to feature his daughter because that's what you start this whole feud off with. Not just because Bray Wyatt cost Roman Reigns the Money in the Bank ladder match at Money in the Bank, but because now Bray Wyatt's getting his daughter involved. So now you have to involve his daughter. And at this point in time, you have Roman Reigns aggravated in this plot because Bray Wyatt is bringing up Roman Reigns' daughter. He's costing Roman Reigns these matches. He cost Roman Reigns the Money in the Bank briefcase, which ultimately cost him a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and you can build off of that. And now Bray Wyatt is also pissed off at Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns took his spot when it was his spot. He deserved to be in the spot Roman Reigns is currently in. So now each have a reason to be aggravated at each other, and that's great storytelling. Having both combine, having both performers' heads knock against each other because they're both aggravated at each other for some reason. One is aggravated for this reason, one is aggravated for this reason. I think that's what you can build this feud off of. And if you did that, I would definitely give credit to you. But right now, you're not doing that. And you only have one more week to build up for Battleground. And right now, you are not doing any good job of it whatsoever. So I can't give you credit. And obviously, you really don't care about my credit. The only reason you would care about it is because I'm also a wrestler, so I would know shit about this wrestling business. But then again, I'm just a wrestler. I'm not a booker, so I wouldn't know. Anyway. Next up. Oh, yeah. After the match, Sheamus was celebrating, and Randy Orton came out. Rushed to the ring. Sheamus charged at him. Orton lays him into the ground, punches him, kicks him, whatever. Sheamus tries to run. Orton hits him near the barricade. Sheamus drops some cheap shots before rolling him in. Runs back into the ring, but Orton catches him with the RKO. Plays to the crowd to end the segment. So Randy Orton versus Sheamus is still happening. Yay. We get, 2 weeks of that, and then Randy Orton goes on vacation, and now Randy Orton back to feud with Sheamus, so we only had 3 or 4 weeks under our belt when we had enough time to do something better with Randy Orton versus Sheamus, even though their match at Battleground is probably not going to be all that great. It just kind of shows that Randy Orton and Sheamus have no chemistry, not just in the ring, but also segment-wise. It's just, I mean, if it's just going to have Randy Orton versus Sheamus every week lead to a beatdown, I don't want that that feud to exist. I mean, yes, USW is guilty, at least from earlier in the year of 2015. They were definitely guilty of having a feud. I'm sorry, often on Intensity. Hell, and their feuds. Hell, even on Intensity, you had, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 times at some point where there was just a feud broke out into a brawl, and that's what kept the feud glued together. I didn't like seeing that. I don't know how, excuse me, I don't know how Chase felt about that, but I didn't like that. And it just shows that, I don't know. Anyway, next up, we have Triple H talking to someone. Seth Rollins walks in, laughing. J&J comes in. J&J talks about Triple H talks about J&J's road trip very quickly. Sends J&J out. Talks to Rollins about what Paul Heyman said earlier, which was don't intentionally provoke the beast, which is what Seth Rollins is planning to do. So he goes out with intention to provoke the beast, and while he's mad, get him to make a mistake. Smart, but not really smart all when you see what happens afterwards. Anyway, Rusev, Summer Rae come out to the ring. Rusev says he did the right thing first, rips into Lana, calls her a snake of a woman, says that they treat her like she, excuse me, says that the crowd treats her like she did nothing wrong. She says she is that he is stronger and better looking than Dolph Ziggler. Rusev says he's more passionate as well. Summer plays off of that, says the fans should show Rusev some respect. Rusev says they shouldn't waste their words, kisses her hand. Dolph Ziggler and Lana cut them off. Dolph says his brain is broken just as much as his ankle, which then plays into what happens next. Dolph says everything Rusev has gotten in the WWE is because of Lana. He knows that he lost the best thing to ever happen to him. Dolph says it's gone and he found her. Then Dolph and Lana. Then Dolph Ziggler and Lana kiss before Summer Rae gets in Lana's face. They both take their shoes off, looking for a fight. Rusev instead beats down Dolph Ziggler with his crutch, super kicks him, takes off his boot. Lana begs him to just stop, and Summer whips her out of the ring as Rusev stomps on Dolph, punches him a few times, pulls Dolph Ziggler by the hair and taunts him. Dolph throws a few punches, but then Rusev slams the crutch in his throat and leaves as referees rush out. I'm not interested in this feud. I mean, you had such a good thing going. If you had just kept Rusev off of TV, not only would you not have Summer Rae in this segment and in this feud, which is a bad thing because she doesn't belong here. If Rusev had stayed off TV for a while, you could have rebuilt him up and then had Ziggler feud with him as Ziggler feuded with whoever else before Rusev came out and beat down on Ziggler. Rusev could have returned at Battleground after Ziggler, or costing Ziggler a match at the match that he had with whoever it was, Bo Dallas, Lucha Dragons, I don't know. Cost him a match against him at Battleground, turning into Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler at fucking SummerSlam or whatever the next pay-per-view is. But instead, you keep Rusev on TV. You give him Summer Rae, when at this point, if he has Summer Rae, he has no need to go back to Lana. Anyway, it's stupid, and now we all know that Rusev is healed, so Rusev versus Ziggler is a go, and I hope this just makes sure that Ziggler versus Rusev ends quicker. So anyway, next up we have Bo Dallas versus Dean Ambrose. Bo makes fun of Dolph getting attacked and says that bad things happen to bad people. Ambrose runs out, hits him in the corner. Bo fights back, throws some punches, applies a headlock. Ambrose breaks it. He connects with some punches and a clothesline. Hits a bulldog and a top rope elbow drop. Ambrose counters with a strike by Bo and a rebound clothesline. Hits the Dirty Deeds for the win. So Ambrose wins that match. Bo Dallas is doing nothing. He got some Bo leave pops, or chance or whatever. So Bo Dallas he's at least getting over at some expense with the crowd, even though he's really doing nothing right now, and that's not anybody's fault but the WWE. Excuse me. And even if Bo Dallas had something wrong, and that's why he wasn't, or something wrong with his character, or his mic skills, or anything that really is a reason why Bo Dallas wouldn't be built up more, his character, then you know what? The WWE should be doing something about that. Changing his character around a little bit more. Helping him with his mic skills, if that's the case, which I doubt it is. Helping him with his moveset. Helping him just develop a good character that you can maintain for a while and have it get over. If that's the reason why Bo Dallas is not on TV, and it's not just because you don't have anything planned for him, well, first off, you need to have a plan for him, a long-term plan, every performer that you have that is at least worth it. And of course, for the next thing, if Bo Dallas isn't worth it, or something is wrong with his character or him in general, then you as a promotion, to build up character, you need to help him develop a new character, help him change those flaws, and in turn, he will be a better performer, a better character, and a better money grabber. And then you have Dean Ambrose, who really is not doing anything right now, and it's sad because you went from having him, of course, everybody knew it was going to be a short run with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but now you have him doing nothing. He just comes back to fight with Bo Dallas, and you have no plan for him, so whatever. I mean, you can have Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose, but I wouldn't do that now because Cesaro is becoming a better face, and he's getting better on the mic. So what do you have for Dean Ambrose? Can't feud with Kevin Owens because it looks like Cesaro versus Kevin Owens is going to happen. Can't have him feud with Rusev because Rusev is feuding with Dolph Ziggler. Can't have him feud with Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins is feuding with Brock Lesnar. Can't have Dean Ambrose feud with fucking Big Show because then Big Show will just put his pasty ass all over a good performer. Then you can't have him feud with Kane because Kane is just he just should not be on TV anymore, at least as a performer. Can't have him feud with King Barrett because why would you have anybody feud with King Barrett at this point? You really have nothing for Dean Ambrose. If you want to have him feud with Bo Dallas, that's fine. I just guarantee you that Bo Dallas is going to get buried by Dean Ambrose because they're going to put Dean Ambrose over. It's just worthless right now having, excuse me, Bo Dallas around, and it's worthless now that you have no plan for Dean Ambrose. It's just sad, and it's getting sad for what the WWE does with all their performers, and I know many people will agree with me. And for those of you who agree with me, thank you. If you don't, leave in the comments why you don't agree with me. And of course, I'll listen to them. Anyway, next up. Oh yeah, we have a next page. How long has this podcast been going on? Wow, 40 minutes. Hey guys, we're going to break an hour. How many people are watching? Just me right now. Okay. Wouldn't expect anything more. Next up we get, oh no. I guess I'll have to talk about it because it's a Raw review. R-Truth versus King Barrett. Wade hits Truth a few times, whips him to the outside, punches him a bit, gets into your fall, get back from break. Wade Barrett's still in control. Truth tries to steal a pin after a missed bullhammer, gets a 2 count. Truth heads to the top. Wade Barrett catches him with a bullhammer on the way down for the win. And bad news, Barrett wins. Nothing much, really, and it's just sad that we have such a, I'm sorry, that was a terrible impression of, I don't even know who I was trying to impersonate. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's just, I'm done with R-Truth versus King Barrett. I don't even want to talk about it in the Battleground preview video or the review video, even though I'm probably going to have to. Anyway, you've heard me talk about it, so anyway. Next up, we have Seth Rollins coming out with J&J. They're armed with axe handles for weapons. Talks about making a statement, runs Brock Lesnar down, gets cocky, asks if Brock is a beast, or if, yeah, all right. What do you think the next 3 words were? Well, here's a connection. Well, Brock Lesnar has Paul Heyman as his mouthpiece. So Paul Heyman is Brock Lesnar's manager. But then, in order to get somebody aggravated, or in order to provoke somebody, you call them what word? What word does the WWE use to make a what word does the WWE use to provoke somebody, or to use as a serious swear word for I can't think of the word for insult. Bitch. That's the word that the WWE uses to insult someone, or to use as an insult. So Paul Heyman and bitch. Paul Heyman's bitch. That's right. He calls Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman's bitch. Time to die, Seth Rollins. Brock comes out, stops at the aisle, looks at the Cadillac as Paul Heyman wheels an equipment crate over. It's the fire equipment crate just in case there's a fire. Brock takes 2 axes and smashes the car to shit. He continues to laugh as he takes it apart. Rollins just watches. Brock smashes it more, kicks the door off, smashes the door into the fucking aisle. chucks that motherfucking piece of shit into the damn crowd, hits a kid in the head. The kid grabs the fucking door, grabs it, hangs it high in the air. Oh boy. Brock Lesnar could have just taken that car, lifted it up, and thrown it into the audience, and that kid would have never survived. But yes, he just fucking hurled around a fucking door. Way send you on your journey. J&J don't take too kindly to this. Runs over. Jamie Noble gets his arm snapped by Brock Lesnar with the Kimura lock. I don't like broken bones or anything like that. But anyway, Joey Mercury gets invited to Suplex City with a belly-to-belly suplex into the hood of the car. And Brock picks up. I'm sorry. Oh, then he chases Rollins from the ring into the crowd as Rollins is running up the crowd, and Brock Lesnar is standing victorious, holds the WWE title up. Very reminiscent of very reminiscent of USW. Anyway, that leads on to whatever, and I guess that's supposed to set up Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. It was great. It was, I guess, not a great promo or segment. You knew it was going to be coming, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, next up, we get Cesaro. I'm sorry, we get Lucha Dragons versus New Day. New Day wins. I don't want to talk about anything else. Then we get John Cena's win challenge. Kevin Owens comes out, says now that he lost the NXT title, he wants the match with Cena, and so on and so forth. And therefore, John Cena will get a match with Kevin Owens there. Then Cesaro comes out, says since Kevin Owens cost him his match last week, he deserves another match. So he says Kevin Owens should just get out of his ring. Otherwise, he's going to have a problem with Cena and Cesaro. So Kevin Owens leaves, and we get Cesaro versus John Cena. And it was a good match. A very good match. And John Cena wins. I'm perfectly fine with John Cena winning. I have nothing else. Nothing bad with that. Kevin Owens runs out, tries to attack Cena, sets up for a pop-up powerbomb. Cena leapfrogs over him and slams him down. Owens retreats, and John Cena holds up the U.S. title. I think John Cena versus Kevin Owens has the most build-up to the show, leading up to Battleground today. I think that John Cena has what it takes to be a great performer. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind. I think John Cena and Kevin Owens has what it takes to be a main event feud. And, yeah. So, I don't want to talk too much about these next few topics because I've talked about them all too much. And I kind of want to save some shit for my preview for Battleground. Anyway, we get into Cesaro, the first topic of the night. Cesaro is a star. His match with John Cena last night was absolutely amazing. It actually ended the show. I'm glad that we did not have an authority promo ending the show. And it was just a match that ended the show. So that ending really made it a better show than it was. Although it was just kind of a repeat show from what we saw last week. Anyway, Cesaro is a star. He pretty much grabbed that motherfucking brass ring down. And he said, "This is mine now." And Cesaro, at this point, all he really needs is to improve his mic skills a bit. And he can have what it takes to be a multi-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He's a great performer in the ring. He has a great character. He at least gets over with whatever he does. He does the 5 different languages one, or the 7 different languages one, or the 9 or 10, whatever. He had the thing with Jack Swagger. He had a babyface run for a short time. Then he had a heel run. He got over with Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. And now he's getting over here as a babyface. I want him to be a babyface. He has all the means of a good babyface, and I think he can go far as a babyface. We talked a little bit about Brock Lesnar versus the car. I guess we can cut that. Kevin Owens ready to be the United States champion. I think, yeah, Kevin Owens can be the United States champion. I think he has what it takes. I think Kevin Owens is a great heel. And he can use that heel heat and heel momentum to be a great United States champion. He just needs to be given a chance, and I think he can make the most out of whatever chance he gets. So, anyway, Um, yeah. Next up, Stone Cold versus Steve Austin. We're gonna cut out Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. I already talked about that. Stone Cold Steve Austin and WWE 2K16. Um, Stone Cold Steve Austin is the cover artist for WWE 2K16. Some news released about it. It's supposed to have over 120 different characters. There's already a rumored Steve Austin or Stone Cold Steve Austin showcase mode, which I would assume takes place during the Attitude Era. Excuse me, and towards the end of the Attitude Era, maybe stretching into the Ruthless Aggression Era just a little bit. Probably touches on his moments as the Raw GM and everything. What are some things that I would like to see out of WWE 2K16? I would love to see the SmackDown Fist Arena back. I would love to see the old Raw Arena back. Both versions of the kind of slanted square type Titantron Raw Arena, when you had both the stage pillars and the light beams or the light things, the ones that Jeff Hardy jumped off of onto Randy Orton in 2007 or 2008. What else would I like to see in 2K16? I would like to see more slots to create characters. I do this thing called AOB wrestling, which is like a private private myself only wrestling thing. I have a website for it. It's aobwrestling.weebly.com. Yes, aobwrestling.weebly.com. And it's pretty much this whole thing where I download characters from servers and I use them as characters in the game. So there's the AOB title, there's the AOB American title, and the AOB global title. And it's just interesting to me. I don't know. Yeah, it's every Friday or something. It's not streamed or anything. It's just me doing it at my home because I'm lonely. And yeah, what else would I like to see from 2K16? I would like to see more creative modes. I understand that you may not have all this room. You have 120 characters, 120 plus characters. You know, you may not have enough, all that many more, if any more, slots than you did from last week or last year. You had 25 creative character slots from last year, and the other creative modes you could do were create an entrance, create a finisher. Or not create a finisher, create a move set. I would like to see the Create Arena back, the actual Create Championship belt back. I would like to see something other than just editing title belts. I would like to see more old school stages, more like Ruthless Aggression era stages, because I didn't live all through that much of the Attitude Era. I lived through the Attitude Era. I was born in '96, but I really started watching wrestling avidly in like 2004, and really became a diehard fan in 2006 when I was like 10. Started watching at 8. Started becoming a fan at 10. Started wrestling at 12, and I'm here at 19, and I'm still wrestling. I'm still an avid fan. So at this point, I've been watching wrestling for 11 years. Damn, that makes me feel old. And I'm only 19. I haven't even been. I'm still technically in my teens. I'm not 20 yet, and I feel old. Just thinking, I've done something for more than half of my life. That just kind of makes me feel like I don't know. I don't like change, so yeah. What else would I like to see from 2K16? I like to see more realistic move animations. I would like to see less of somebody kicks out, or when somebody kicks out, it doesn't matter if they have to crawl to the ropes, they would still stay down until they got enough momentum to get back up. Things that made it more realistic. I would like to see more going backstage, more free roam type things, like being able to go into the arena or go into the crowd, going to the backstage area, being able to jump off the stage, instead of just walking up the stage into the two little columns to the left and the right. Being able to jump off of that and go to the side area. I'd like to see be able to go onto the actual announce table again instead of having to just lay on it if somebody puts you on it. I'd like to see you be able to get onto it again. A few like maybe more interesting OMG moments. Those kind of things. What else? Hmm. Oh, I would like to see more creative logo spots. I think you can only get 4 or 5 now. I want you to be able to see if you can get at least 10 or 15. Those are the type of things I would like to see. I know, I know I'm a little late to the party when it comes to um, voicing what I want from 2K16, because most of the game has been completed or at least done and is going to be tested soon. I would like to see those kind of things. Um, those little kind of things. Yeah. So those are the kind of things I would like to see from 2K16. Um, now we got into the 16, or now we get into the seventh topic, which is the state of WWE Battleground 2015. I don't really have too much to say about it other than this is not a pay-per-view that I'm looking forward to. It's kind of one of those pay-per-views that hasn't been built up too well, and despite some of the matches looking interesting, it doesn't really impact me as a wrestling fan. It's not like I would. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I've still got to do a preview on it. I've still got to do a review on it. But and the review or the preview will come out next week, and the review will come out on the night of. Um, I just, I really want to see more storyline put into this, more hype put into pay-per-views, not just Battleground, but more pay-per-views, and make the pay-per-views feel special, make them feel interesting. No, not give the pay-per-views some kind of gimmick. No tables, ladders, and chairs gimmick. No Hell in a Cell gimmick. No Elimination Chamber gimmick. Cut all those pay-per-views out. Bring back pay-per-views like um, Royal Rumble, No Way Out. I'm sorry. Why not have the lineup be Royal Rumble in January, No Way Out in February, WrestleMania in March, Backlash in April, Judgment Day in May, June you have Vengeance, July you have the Great American Bash, August you have SummerSlam, August you have SummerSlam, September you have Unforgiven, October you have No Mercy, um, November you have Survivor Series, and December you have Armageddon. Can you please bring those back? I want to see those back. Hell, if you want to, bring back In Your House. Bring back Insurrection. Bring back better pay-per-views. I don't want to hear. I don't want to see gimmick pay-per-views. I don't like those pay-per-views. Um, I mean pay-per-views like I guess Battleground or Payback are I guess they're okay with me, but I hate those gimmick pay-per-views like Elimination Chamber, excuse me, and Extreme Rules and TLC and Survivor Series. You can do that. I don't care about Survivor Series. And Hell in a Cell, I don't like that. Um, Night of Champions is fine. I don't care. You can have that kind of pay-per-view, but pay-per-views that matter. No, I don't like gimmick pay-per-views. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing if you have like Night of Champions, fine. You can have like I don't want match gimmick pay-per-views. You can have you can have Night of Champions say, oh, every championship has to be defended, and maybe there will be a couple extra matches that aren't championship based because you don't have that many championships here now. And if you're gonna have Night of Champions, put the NXT title and the NXT tag team titles and the NXT women's title on the line, please. That'd make it more interesting. I'd like that match. I'd like those shows. I get you would have Survivor Series because you have an elimination tag team match, and it's kind of your Survivor Series. I like that. That's fine. That's the only match type pay-per-view or match type gimmick I would like. Money in the Bank. I don't like that either. Take that out. WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Yes, I guess you have the biggest pay-per-view of the year. You have the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. That's their gimmicks. That's what they're known for. Royal Rumble. That's the other pay-per-view that I'm fine with having a match gimmick. The Royal Rumble match. I'm perfectly fine with that. But things like the Money in the Bank ladder match, you can have that on a WrestleMania. That was much more special on WrestleMania than on its own pay-per-view. Elimination Chamber, you can have that at No Way Out. And then TLC matches and Hell in a Cell matches and Extreme Rules matches, no disqualification matches. You can save those for special things, for storylines that matter. You don't have to have a Hell in a Cell match every single fucking year. All right, that's what I want. And Battleground, at least have these pay-per-views like Battleground and Payback and every other pay-per-view you have good hype to it. Have it be built up well. Have the feuds on it be built up well. And that's what I want. That's what I hope you would give us. And there you have it. So now we get to the questions. And I actually received 5 questions, so I'm glad that some people actually watched this podcast and enjoy it. Hopefully they enjoy it because they've asked me questions. Almost an hour long, and we're going to get over an hour. Anyway, quick thing. If you have any questions for me to answer on the next episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast, at this point it'll be next Tuesday, July 14th, 2015 at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Send them to unitards@gmail.com. It's unitards with 2 Z's at the end. @gmail.com, and send your wrestling related questions there, and I want to send them on the next Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. So this week we got 5 questions, and I have not read them yet, so let's see. We're going to go with the first one, and this first one is sent from Gareth Damon, and he asks, from what you have gathered, what do you see the fate of total nonstop action wrestling being? Have you had any thoughts on what wrestling would be like without TNA? If so, an answer to this question would be greatly appreciated. Thanks a bunch, from Gareth Damon. Thank you, Gareth, for your question. He's asking what do I see the fate of total nonstop action wrestling being? So TNA. And have I had any thoughts on what wrestling would be like today without TNA? Well, first off, I see the fate of TNA going in one of 2 directions. The first direction I see it going in is just completely closing down, going defunct. The second option I see it going is joining with GFW or another minor promotion. Of course, a lot of TNA's performers on their roster will be without jobs when TNA goes out of business, which is why a promotion like GFW or NJPW or Dragon Gate or Lucha Underground or Ring of Honor or NEW, hell, they could merge with those promotions. I don't want them to merge with USW, please no. And they could just merge with another promotion, therefore keep their performers, well, at least most of them, under contract, or at least performing for another promotion with a job. And the other question, what would wrestling today be like without TNA? TNA is a very different subject from WWE. I hope Gareth knows that. And I mean, I think TNA, the wrestling world without TNA would be fine. I think since TNA has gone downhill in the past few years, it's just been getting more worthless, and wrestling world has just lived to deal without TNA. So right now at this point, it wouldn't matter whether TNA was still here or not. The wrestling community and the wrestling world doesn't really need them anymore. They're not really important to them anymore, and they haven't been for quite a while. So anyway, thank you, Gareth, for that question. Next up we have from Jackson Paul. Your channel is a wrestling-based channel to my knowledge. Yes, it is. But what wrestling channels other than you do you watch on YouTube? From Jackson Paul. I guess that's a quick question. I do watch a lot of Deluxeman whenever he has a Raw review coming out, or whenever he has a a topic video coming out. I always watch them. I always watch them completely, and then I watch other. I mean, I don't watch too many other wrestling related channels. Bite That Wrestling Podcast is another channel that I really like. I always watch their weekly podcast, and I'm starting to get into the Squared Roundtable, which is their topic video of the week, and I enjoy it. So anyway, those are your questions, or that's your question. Next up, we have from JD. Hopefully, you're gonna get to my question. If you are, thanks. But why does the WWE need Vince McMahon in charge? What if he died or something? Where would the WWE be without him? Peace, JD. Uh, just to let you know, I'm going to read your when I read your full question out loud, I'm going to read it the way it's pronounced, or the way it's spelled out. So, bear with me. Um, JD asks, why does the WWE need Vince McMahon in charge? What if he passed on or something? Where would the WWE be without him? Really, the WWE, it's not a matter of fact of whether or not the WWE needs Vince McMahon. They can't get rid of Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon is the WWE. The WWE is not separate from Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the WWE. Vince McMahon really is wrestling right now. Vince McMahon is wrestling. If he passed on, I mean, that wouldn't just be a bad thing for the WWE. That'd be a bad thing for wrestling, period. Wrestling, all anybody's really been a seen through. Like, let's say you're a USW fan, you can't know USW without knowing WWE. If you're a TNA fan, you can't know TNA without knowing WWE. Ring of Honor, can't know Ring of Honor without knowing WWE. You can't know any other promotion without knowing what the WWE is. The WWE is that whole center of wrestling, and right now Vince McMahon is the center of wrestling. If Vince McMahon wasn't here, then that's kind of the period where wrestling would stop, and I don't want to see that period. But I mean, in that case, then we'd have somebody like Triple H taking over, and if you've seen NXT, then you know that it's much better than what Vince McMahon puts out on the main roster. Um, I think the WWE and Vince McMahon are a good pairing. The reason why I don't see Vince McMahon being such a great booker and why I don't see Raw and SmackDown being such a great product, or the pay-per-views being such a great product, and the booking being off, is because I think the reason why is because Vince McMahon is more in tune to what happened during the PG or during the Attitude Era. He was more um, free to book, and he had much more leeway when booking in the Attitude Era and when booking in the Ruthless Aggression Era. And I think with the PG era, he has a lot of restrictions, and he's got to work around that. And Vince McMahon, I know he's capable of working around it. It's just, I think it's kind of getting very difficult, with the wrestling world today. I mean, PG is very family friendly and it's very capable of being booked well, but I think this is just leading to Vince McMahon and everybody just having the WWE being booked like this for a while now, until Vince McMahon either leaves voluntarily or involuntarily. The WWE without him would be in a state of shock, but I think it would be able to live on had Vince McMahon not been in charge, or had Vince McMahon or something else had been Vince McMahon. So anyway, next question. Well, thank you, JD, for your question, and thank you to Jackson for your question. Next question is from Sammy Harrison. I understand that you work for a promotion that has a house show once or twice every month with USW. What is your opinion on WWE house shows? I know that they have been. I know that they have had them very often, and they have them in different places around the country and the rest of the world. What are your opinions on the WWE house shows? And if you have ever been to one, what was it like and what experiences did you have there? Thanks for answering my question, Sammy Harrison. I am a girl, not a guy. Okay. I was confused. I was wondering if Sammy was short for Samuel, or Samantha. All right. It's probably it. All right. It's either just Sammy, or Samantha, whichever one. But thank you. I'm gonna go with Sam. I'll just say Sammy. Thank you for your question. What are my opinions on WWE house shows? Well, they differ a lot from USW house shows. USW has them once or twice every month, and WWE has them once or twice every 2 or 3 days, and in different portions of the countries. So it's not just like they all have them from here and then they travel here to the next day. No, there are some performers in one area and they're having the other performers in this part of the country, and then other performers are in this part of the country, and every so often you get house shows differ with performers, and yeah. I have never been to a WWE house show. I believe the only times I've ever been able to go to one, I've either been busy with USW or I've been busy with someone else. Um, that's pretty much that. Either that, or I just haven't been able to go. Um, I mean, I've only had leeway to go to a USW house show for about a year or almost a year and a half now. I believe about a month from now, I would have turned 18 a year and 6 months ago, which is a year and a half. So I've only been able to go to a house show on my own for about a year and a half. The only other house show I've ever gone to, and that was also on my own, was an NEW house show, and that was the fall. It was the Hardys versus the Young Bucks 2 in an NEW house show in October 2014. But I have not been to a WWE house show. I think they are booked there because I mean, they get a little extra revenue, and it's kind of to get the word out to people who don't watch WWE regularly and just want to go there for a wrestling show because there's a wrestling show in town. I think they're a bit overused, but then again, what else in WWE is not? Thank you, Sammy, for your question. I've stuck on the name Samantha now. This question is a long question, and this is also the last question of the night. So this is from Brandon Reynolds. And he says, I'm a big fan of both USW and WWE. I wanted to ask you a few questions between the two promotions, and I wanted to get your honest opinions on them. One, how does USW's pay-per-view system differ from that of WWE? Two, how does USW's championship system differ from that of the WWE? Three, how does USW's staff differ from that of the WWE? Number four, how do the performers from USW differ from the WWE superstars on screen? Number five, how does USW's product differ from that of the WWE? And number six, and finally, how does USW differ from the WWE in any other aspects? Thanks for answering my questions, Brandon Reynolds. P.S. I like heels more. I favor Mashigeta over Zach Hardy right now. Good luck on Wednesday. Well, thanks, man. I would spew some crappy one-liner as an insult out of defense, but hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I like heels as well. The only other face that I've actually really liked at that point when they were a complete face was Jeff Hardy, and Matt Hardy. So anyway, glad you at least like somebody in USW. And I'm glad you're a fan of USW and the WWE because USW and WWE are great promotions. So the last question of the night, it's pretty much a six-part question. Number one, USW's pay-per-view system different from that in WWE. USW barely, well, I don't say barely. I guess the same things they have in common there are some pay-per-views with match gimmicks. But in that case, the USW has 16 pay-per-views a year, until 2016, where it's just one pay-per-view every month. The WWE has like 12 or 13 pay-per-views a year, which is like once every month, and then maybe a special. I think it's interesting. I like if I had to pick between USW's and WWE's pay-per-view system, I like USW's right now, as long as they booked it a little bit differently. But USW's pay-per-view system, at one point they'll have a pay-per-view at the end of the year, at the end of the month, and then the last week, the last Sunday of a month, and then they'll have it the exact first Sunday of the next month, and then they'll go on another break until they go to the same thing and repeat. I personally never been a fan of that system. I've always been a fan of having it be 5 weeks in between and giving leeway to book differently. How does USW's championship system differ from that of the WWE? USW has two major titles. WWE has one. USW has two major or minor titles. The WWE considers it to be two minor titles, although they also consider it to be one minor title and one territory title. We both have one tag team title, and we both have, I guess, if you want to be um, technical about it, then we both have two territory. We both have one territory title. With WWE and USW, we both have the major titles. We have USW has the USW title and the USW World Heavyweight title. I'm sorry, and the World Heavyweight title, and WWE has the WWE World Heavyweight title. The minor titles we have USW has the blue belt title and the extreme title. WWE has the intercontinental title, and yeah. And the tag team titles we have WWE has WWE tag team titles and USW has the USW tag team titles. And the territory titles we have USW has the international championship and WWE has the United States championship. All in all, it's a great system. I kind of like USW's system a lot more because it gives more performers a chance to win a title. Yes, sometimes you have one performer holding a title that makes it really not where the title feel less meaningful. And the reason being, or the reason behind that, is because the title is not fitting for that performer, so you take the title off of him. But I think the USW's whole system for the championships is better. They have two major, two minor, one tag, and one territory. WWE has one major, one minor, one tag, and one territory. But the WWE is a lot more simpler, and that's interesting. Excuse me. I like USW's a lot more, though, in my opinion. How does USW's staff differ from that of the WWE? I don't know. I don't know WWE staff. If it had to be on screen, the USW has two broadcasters or commentators. WWE has three. We have three referees, and I don't know how many the WWE has. We have one ring announcer, and so does WWE. We have a general manager, whereas the WWE has the authority. Kyle Reese. Well, actually, we both have the authority power, but in this case, Kyle Reese. In this case, USW has Kyle Reese as the owner, and the WWE has the authority as the booking, or not the bookers, but the authority figures. So, yeah, I guess the on-screen is pretty similar with the on-screen staff, and I guess the WWE definitely books the authority as the main runners of the WWE, as like the owners of the main powerhouses of the WWE, whereas although everybody knows Vince McMahon is the one in charge. How do the performers from USW differ from the WWE separate superstars? Um, very simple. USW doesn't have every performer have a gimmick. USW has always felt very strong on not giving every performer a gimmick, only giving the performers that really don't have such a great in-ring competitor or is such an in-ring feel or not that great on the mic. That's when they give them a gimmick. And sometimes, and then there are some performers that would do better with a gimmick than without. So they're only giving a gimmick to those who aren't good in the ring slash or aren't as great in the ring or on the microphone as everybody else, or they give a gimmick to those who would do better with a gimmick than without a gimmick. And the WWE tries to give everybody a gimmick and a working gimmick at least. Yeah. Number 5, how does USW's product differ from that of the WWE? The USW's product takes it a lot more professional, and they take it a lot more strategic. They take it a lot more serious than the WWE, and they book their product as a wrestling show less than an entertainment show, which is what the WWE books their shows as. And I'm going to kind of talk about if we're going to talk about products, I'm going to put USW's Wednesday Night Intensity versus WWE's Monday Night Raw. Raw is an entertainment show. Intensity is a wrestling show. Wednesday Night Intensity is taken more seriously, it's taken more professionally, and it's taken more of a corporate look, whereas WWE has taken more, or well, actually, no. Wednesday Night Intensity is, as I said before, more professional. It's a wrestling show. It's more professional, and it's also feels like it's run by the performers. It's not, there's an authority figure looking out over everybody, but in total, the performers are what make the show. Excuse me. Raw is an entertainment show. It's taken more loosely, and it feels like the authority figures run the show. So they're two completely different aspects. And I like USW's Wednesday Night Intensity a lot better than Monday Night Raw because it's much more tolerable to watch. They actually take feedback from you know the fans. They listen to their feedback. They try to do whatever it is to make a better product. They try to make it a wrestling show, and they give the performers more leeway as to make it feel like they can run the show and they can have more freedom to be themselves, have more freedom to um, put on a good show. Whereas WWE has kind of gone corporate, and they've had the authority figures um, feel like they're the ones in power, and the superstars. Yes, they're open to being whoever they can be, but they are some performers are constantly are between those levels of a forced character or a natural feel character. And I like USW because it gives the performers leeway. It feels more professional and it takes itself more serious. It takes itself as a wrestling show and not as an entertainment show, whereas that differs from what Raw does as an entertainment show, not a wrestling show. And finally, of course, how does USW differ from that of the WWE in any other aspects? I can't really answer that because there's so many other things that we haven't touched on. History wise, feedback wise, whatever. Um, USW is a private promotion, just as the WWE is. It's more of a local promotion. WWE is more of a global promotion, and USW is more of a smaller promotion than WWE. And that kind of allows USW to have more leeway with its product, and kind of gives more of a restriction to the WWE with their product. Yeah. So anyway, thank you to Brandon Reynolds for asking that question. Thank you to everybody who asked a question. If you have a question, send it to unitards@gmail.com. It is the name that you see at the bottom of the screen, only with two Z's at the end, not one Z. So guys, thank you for watching. This was my... Fuck. Hold on. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like... fuck. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Send your questions, your wrestling-related questions to unitards@gmail.com. It's unitards with two Z's at the end @gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter @Zachary Sarah. You see that at the bottom of the screen. You will have updates from what goes on my YouTube channel and updates in general. In shit, maybe I'll talk about whatever's going on in my life. Whatever. Follow me on Twitter. Send your questions to unitards@gmail.com. I will answer them on next week's episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. Next week on July 14th, 2015 at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. It'll be the 5th episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. We will be halfway to the season 1 finale. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.